Hi there, this is Emma from Exotic Fantastic Cake Decorating School. This is our cake room and I would like to show you what's in my toolbox, or well, I just want to show you the tools that I feel are essential to cake decorating. When I first started cake decorating, I wanted to have all the tools because I thought that the more tools that you had, the more, beautiful your cakes would be. But I have found over the years that it's not the number of tools that you have that make your cakes good. It's really what you do with what you have. So instead of thinking of buying the next tool, I tend to now look at what I have around me and see if I can work with those. So I just wanted to show you what I feel are essential tools for your cake decorating. So we'll start with rolling pins. I have all the tools here, so you'll probably be seeing a lot of the back of my head. So rolling pins. You use rolling pins for rolling out your icings, either when you want to cover your cake or when you want to make small decorations. So you should have a rolling pin. This would be the ones that you probably be used to. In this one, you just hold it this way and go back and forth, and this part rolls. And sometimes there's some silicone versions, and then there's also the wooden one. I actually prefer this one because you can roll your icing quite big with this, because you can roll in many different directions. Now, some people are not comfortable using it this, so it all depends on what your preference is. There are other rolling pins like these ones, which are just a simple, long ones. And they come in from about 16 inch to about 21 inches. I think this is about 20 inches, and they are quite good. So again, it's your own personal preference. This also comes in the silicone or poly something plastic variety anyway. So whatever you prefer. I mean, this is what people kind of tout and say, oh, this is the best rolling pin. But really, it all depends on the person that's using the thing, and not so much how expensive it is. This costs about 20-something pounds. This costs about £6 or £7, and you could get them for less in your supermarket or cook shop. Apart from that, we also have smaller rolling pins like these ones. So this is a 9-inch and this is a 6-inch. Apart from that, we have smaller rolling pins. This is a 9-inch, this is a 6-inch, and you use these ones for more delicate work, for working on gum paste, rolling out your gum paste or flower paste to make flowers or decorations, that kind of thing. If you were just going to get one, I would say get the 9-inch. Very versatile. Another essential would be your palette knife. Now, palette knives come in different shapes and sizes. There's this biggest one, I think that's a 9-inch, also crank handle. And there's a straight one, this is a 6-inch, just a straight palette knife. And then there's also a smaller version of a crank handle, and they even have smaller versions of those as well. This one is probably what most people who come to class would see, except when they come for the level 1, then they might get to use this one. But having said that, again, all these, you do the same thing. They do absolutely the same thing that you do with this one, you can do with this one. You can also do with this one. So it all depends on your preference, what you reach for, or what you prefer to hold, or how comfortable it feels in your hand. When I'm decorating a cake, often I reach for this one. When I'm doing cupcakes, I would use this one, and then this one is also handy for moving icings around and moving stuff around, as well as working with icing and that kind of thing. So that's your palette knives. Then you have things like our paintbrushes. Paintbrushes, you could use the bigger ones for dusting, dry dusting with luster dust, you know, the shiny sparkly dust. You could also use them for painting, and then you could also use them for applying glue. So they come in different sizes. Usually you get a set for £1 or £2 depending on what you're buying. Paint brushes with in cake decorating, generally you want to buy something that is you know, sort of a medium quality, not too cheap, not, you know, like a cheap one that children would use, but, you know, something where the bristles don't fall off easily and, you know, contaminate your work. So I would always say look for a sable or something that is natural as opposed to synthetic. So something like I don't know, goat's hair or one of those things. You know, sable really works well. Paint brushes, different sizes. Pastry brush, also very helpful. This one also you might want to brush onto your cake when you want to, onto your once you set up your cake, you want to brush on your cake before you cover it. And then it's also helpful for, you know, brushing off corn flour when you roll out your icing. Also sometimes when you make an odd shaped cake and you have to put your push your icing into all the crevices, something like this would also help to kind of push the icing into the crevices without marking it or tearing it. So paint brushes. Then we have things like rulers, pencils, smoothers. Again, you could buy one that has this thing, but then this is usually the most common and really the most versatile as well. It has a straight edge, it has a rounded edge as well, and it has a smooth side. And you use that for polishing your icing. This one would work as well, and this one would also help you to get some sharp edges on your cake. We also have that. I don't know whether you can see that. It's a flexi scraper, and it's just a piece of like either x-ray film or laminating, no, not laminating film, overhead projector film, or what you would use for the cover of a presentation folder. So it's just a sheet of that was cut up into pieces, and I rounded the edges as well. So this is helpful, you know, it gives a very nice smooth finish when you buff on your cupcakes as well as when you're smoothing out your cakes. But you want to be careful that you don't use it to tear your icing. So we also have pizza cutters, and I'm trying to make this quick. This is a ravioli cutter if you're looking for it. It has a smooth edge as well as a jagged edge, which you could use for different things. And then of course just an ordinary pizza cutter. So once you cover your cake with your icing, you could use that to trim off the icing. Also, when you're doing freehand decorations, you could use this as well to cut out freehand shapes, or if you're trying to rule a line with your ruler on your icing, you could use that to roll your line. So that's very, very helpful. Most of the tools that I'm showing you, most of the tools I'm showing you are actually cheap in and of themselves. I don't think there's anything here on its own that's more than £12, and most of the time it's £5, £6, £2, £7, £3, £4. But £1.99, it adds up. So you don't want to go crazy buying stuff. Just buy it when you need it. You'd also need containers. Now I kind of have all kinds of containers. Sometimes like this one I found in the charity shops, nice silver. I don't even know what it was, but it's not a cup, so we put our water in it when we want to paint, or our water in it when we want to use it to stick put our paintbrush in to stick our decorations on. This one I got from supermarkets, a set of 4 different colors also, and this one we use it for putting our chocolate ganache when you're working, or your icing when you're working on your cupcakes and all that. So you want all kinds of containers. Again, tray, I found this one also in a charity shop, which I use for, and I like it because it's nice and flat, so when we're working we can put our paint brushes, our knives, our palette knives, and you know, all those bits and pieces and rulers and things like that on there, on the work, so on our table. And then squeezy bottle. for water, which you would always need for one thing or the other while you're working. Pins, sewing pins, or like sewing head pins. There's one. I tend to pin this onto my apron whenever I'm about to start covering a cake. Can you see it? Where's the head? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I tend to pin that onto my apron when I'm about to start rolling out the cake, just for popping air bubbles, that kind of thing. What else? Then of course we have cutters, set of round cutters, handy to have if you can afford it. You can also find it cheaply in your local supermarket. This is a flour foam pad, it's called now. When I used to buy it, it was actually just the insulation that you use for packing musical instruments. So you could search for egg foam, and it would come in some massive sheets, and they practically threw it out then. And then you just cut into the size that you want. And this is very useful because it's kind of porous, so once you dry your flowers or whatever on it, then it allows this air to circulate. And then also and it's soft, so your flowers don't get damaged while they're drying. And I say flowers, but it could be anything, flowers, leaves, whatever. And then also the shapes and crevices allow you to be creative in the way that you shape your flowers to, place them. So there it is. You can see it. Can you see it? Good. Now, if you don't have this at home, instead of rushing out to buy one, you can use an egg tray and just cover it with some foil paper. Push the foil paper into the crevices. Use that to lay your decorations on, shape your decorations while they dry, and that would work just perfect. Then you also have spatulas, different sizes. Spatulas, different sizes and shapes. I like this one, that's an Ateco. I use that for when I'm baking, scraping out, from your bowl. Which even reminds me, there's my favorite baking tool, which is not here. It's just a scraper. It's shaped like this, but without the handle, and you just use that for scraping out your bowl, and it's flexible as well, so it gets you all the bits of the cake batter. Very useful. Then scissors, again different sizes, big ones. You could use this if you need to trim off your icing when you're covering an odd-shaped cake. And just scissors I use, this one you will use in flower decoration, but I just thought I'll show you. Scissors of all sizes as well. This one, for instance, is nail scissors that I got in Boots, and of course I've not used it for my nails, but it's just one of the kind of things that you get. And then we also have colors, all kinds of different colors, decorative colors. Cutters, all kinds of cutters. Now you can find them cheaply online, some places. But then those are the kind of things that you would buy as you need, not so much, just to have them, but when you need them, or if you have a cake order or something, then you buy the cutters. Then we have a silicone, what do they call them? Silicone thingies. Molds, yes, that's what they call them. Silicone molds. So they come in different shapes and sizes. This one is Karen Davis and it's brooches. This one is Nameless and it's buttons. And basically you would use those ones. So this is not really essential. It's just some tools that you have. Now, apart from, and then piping bags and couplers and piping tips. So there is the coupler. Let's take it, show you. That's the coupler. So there we go. And that is the tip. There we go. Now, apart from those tools, there are also some other things that you wouldn't really find in a cake shop that I use often. One of them is, there there's a few small hand ones. This one you would find in the cake shop. It's a quilting tool. It's PME, but it has three round. Hold on. There you go. 3 round discs that you can interchange. So this one you would use for quilting. So if you're making something that is going to replicate a blanket or a quilt or a teddy bear, a stitched, stuffed teddy bear, you'd use that. This one is like a zigzag, and this one will actually be quite useful if you're making like a zip. And then this one, if you just want to make indentations, it has a nice blunt kind of end to it, so it's actually useful for making indentations if you want to have some kind of stylized design. Tweezers, all kinds of things. If you're what they call it, if you're using pearl, you want to put dragées or something on your cakes and you want to place them, this would be useful. And then also for flower decorating. Then this is one of my favorite, which was introduced to us in school by Andrea Sullivan when she came from Canada to teach classes. Andrea Sweet Cakes Sullivan, and it is, she says she found out about it from the cake ladies in Montreal. So this is the way we pass around information anyway, and I'm just doing my bit. It is a painter's palette, and this one I think it's L14 is the size, but basically it's a teardrop shape. The tip is a teardrop shape, and I think it's about 2.5 to 3 centimeters. So if you're going to search for it online, you will find it as part of a set or on its own to buy. And then of course a craft knife or an X-Acto knife, so that one is also useful for fine work or delicate work, or cutting out templates, or cutting out all kinds of things, and this one you would hold it as like a pencil. So you hold it like a pencil, and so you can do quite intricate work with that. Others, I like using this. It's painter's masking tape. Sometimes you might need it for like when you're putting a stenciling around a cake, and you want to put your icing but you don't want your stencil to move. Then you might use this to hold parts of your stencil or the whole thing in place on your cake. And it has no residue, so it's non-toxic, so it doesn't mark your cake, and it peels off easily and gives you a nice sharp edge if you're going to use it for painting as well. So there is this one I just got. Actually, I've never used this one before.